there is this term called as early awakening that is constantly used in the Waldorf community. So, can you please share about that?
The term early awakening, when the world of concepts, it comes in the terms of reading, in the terms of too much of intellectual load for children should be avoided, and also in the term that children now they are not thinkers, so we should not provoke them to really question and everything. If the children question, you need not answer every question in a very very abstract way, like how you are going to teach a 14-year-old child or 15-year-old child. The children will just ask how the fan is, how epidema, how it is rounding, Dina. Then the complete electricity, half ECE or the subject should not be brought before that 3-year-old child who's just asking how this is happening. Like, we have to we have to bring very simple. It should not break the science also, but it should not add them too much to their intellect also. We have to see and bring wise answers before the children, that if you switch on the fan rounds, and you will learn about this in detail when you really grow up, how really it does it. So uh, like how a morning when it comes, the sun rises, the same way when we switch on, the fan goes, right? And sometimes they will again question a 7 or 8 year. Then when there is no current, even if you switch on, the fan doesn't run. What will happen, Amma, if then the next child happens? Then you have to tell that sometimes it happens. You have to wait and see why that happens also. All that in a very very naive examples la when you grow up, simple answers. As a teacher, I found, after being a pedagogue, after reading this pedagogy, the answer to bring before a second or a first grade, when you grow up, you will know grown-ups did this, and you have to believe that why grown-ups did it. They have something to do with it. So that reverence is also given, and when you grow up also, you will learn. These two things bring so much of bridging for the children to learn, and early awakening. Too many nomenclatures for children are very very does has a very hazardous effect on children. What flower? Marigold. Tell me what color? This is golden yellow, this is lemon yellow marigold, and this is golden yellow marigold, and yellow color, and this leaf smells so good. This is marigold, big marigold, small marigold, country marigold. So, adukku mela, people also teach biological names for this marigold. Very young mothers, that is also taught. Nomenclatures doesn't come for children even in high school. That's what, not only Steiner, J Krishnamurti schools also have this strong philosophy of not bringing nomenclatures before children. The names doesn't matter for the children. What the simple gazing of that butterfly and the gazing of that flower, a simple flower, children crushing those flowers, smelling it, swallowing it, all is a learning for children. Early awakening of small decisions of what dress you want. We are now proud parents. My child now, 5-year-old child, we are taking that pride. He will select all his clothes. Yes, Steiner says so much of insecurity the child will take into his life if these decisions are allowed for children to select dresses, to select food. All this is not for this age. We have to be very crucial at that point. I was deep in this meditative thought when I read this, and I sensed how much even I as a parent have did that error to bring. Even at this age of 27, my daughter doesn't like many times to ask, what do you want? Do you want chapati or idli? She gets decide when we have to take that decision. And you see, our grandmothers or our great grandmothers, they did not even ask these things. They did it in one rice and one dal was nourishing for that whole team to have. And none said, why not? No, I don't want that, and I want that. So that much is the sense we have to connect when we bring as food, or you bring as education, or you bring as tools for whatever the children want in this early years. No, nothing need not be given at this age. No toys essential, no books essential, nothing is essential. Just children should have some adults to take care of them with so much of kindness and warmth. And all they need is a tree, sand, and water. That's all. Nothing else is needed for the children, is my suggestion. So if you don't want to early awaken the children, never do anything. No drawing. They'll be thrown color pencils and they can draw whatever they want. Painting, whatever they want to paint. Stories, if you don't know what stories you tell, don't even tell stories. They will pick up stories from your life, right? But if you want to tell stories, tell your own nature stories or something of fairy tales. Nourished fairy tales are there all around the space. Need not even go for Grimm's fairy tales. See and hear the local folks. They bring, even it is in German, Africa, or America, or Tamil Nadu, nourishing folk fairy tales are there around the space. Hear that and say for children, that much is enough in the kindergarten. Repetitive stories are good at this time. I hope this much is enough.
Yes, you did touch what I wanted from you, because like I had this problem when I was following a lot of Montessori thing, and I was giving a lot of, not a lot of options, but two or three options to my child. And when we entered the Waldorf world, in a couple of weeks, the pedagogue told Kritika, stop giving options. I was like,
Yes.
I'm just giving him two dresses and ask him to select what to choose. I'm not giving a lot of options. He was like, see, this is not the age for decision making or thinking. This is the time for him to play in the sand. Let him just do that. You decide for him. And that was like, what is she telling? If he is not going to decide from now, when will he make big decisions in his life? Was the question I had. But when I understand the reason behind what she told, life changed so beautifully. And thank you so much for sharing that, Akka.
That's one of the thing, no?
But
They was all doing Montessori, and I thought that was really, I was just observing and seeing, okay, it's okay, no, for the child to choose what thing they want to do it. So I felt that was good when I was, it's okay. But after this deep science was being thrown upon, I was really astonished. And when I bought rhythms inside the classroom and I found the children how secured after that they were, was really, it's really a subject which every human being have to really think back of what, why should we not allow the children to decide at the very young age. Thank you, Kritika, for sharing. I hope this particular learning should happen for every one of us, and we should not be taken pride for making children to be decision makers at that very young age. Early awakening is very disastrous for all all of their lives. That will become a disaster. That's one thing which we have to take into account, and strongly this world of pedagogy brings that into focus. Very young mothers bring puzzles for children. Children also beautifully play puzzles, and world of mentors, they don't bring puzzles, but a sand and water is more scientific. If we should not say therapeutic, because if it is therapeutic, they have another meaning. It's of course therapeutic, but it has a lot of chemistry, physics, biology, all is learned in sand and water. You have to tell it in that terms, at least the common of one of us. We have to understand all that is there in sand and water. Yes, Kritika,
oh,
thank you.
very beautifully shared. And how does the transition happen between a conservative school child who is moving to Waldorf, and when a Waldorf child moves to a conservative school after grade 5 or grade 6? Because understanding the Indian perspective, not much of the parents community is ready to continue Waldorf all throughout the child's life, school education, as compared to the European countries or the US. So, how does the transition happen in both the ways?
Yeah. Now, when the world of child is transited for conservative schools. Yes, the transition is for a few months, like uh, it can extend after 3 weeks till 3 months. No, sometimes it may extend till six, not more than six, but then two. You see a downfall in the face. They don't carry that briskness. The eyes droop. They are not as blooming as what they come to a Waldorf school. The eyes droop. They are not so happy to enter into this school for some. So it might be initially 2 days they might be happy, but some otherwise it droops for a few days. Then they observe and see what is happening around, what is the subjects, what are the things. For that observation, it varies from the child from 3 weeks to 3 months. It's all the observation time of how they have to take things in, grasp, and then they have to beat up what is there in that space. Surely they take this. So this is the time for their balancing, to know what is it and to know where they are, where they fall down. They might see some variations, Waldorf children into the other conservative streamline. Usually, if the school provides rich pedagogy, then they don't fall down in language or mathematics. They may fall down in science or social, because what social is taught here is not there. Science, what we teach as botany and zoology, is not plant and animal kingdom, is not what is there over. So in that they might little bit downfall, but then as the learning skill, what they self learning tool, what Waldorf children learn is more in their physiognomy, and so they actually meet it very beautifully. Even if they know they are little little low in that group, in one subject or two subject, and after a few months you will never see the air of losing for them. They simply uh, cross the shore in a very beautiful way, like that, like a floating way. They choose, and they choose. They don't find this competition enter too much into their syndrome, unless and until the parents leave undisturbed for them. They have to see and wait for this spirit to really evolve for them. They will know how to compete themselves, and they will know how to stabilize. There was one parent who came, who the child now is going from second to third. While she came for the admission, she shared one thing from her. Uh, I could remember that anecdote. She had two children who went from our school to a conventional school, and the one child is very very bright child. The other child, the same class, is not that bright. She is quite an average child, and she was very fascinated with this average child, to see that she had low marks in some few subjects, and she was not able to cope up for 3 4 months in one subject. But she was very fascinated to see that she never had the fear of loss. Her eyes was very strong, stern, and stubborn. She didn't even bother to have low marks in her. Whereas other children used to cry, and they felt so bad for their low marks, and this particular thing fascinated her. Yes, and this that for that child. So now she has finished her 11th and blossoming beautifully. Child has now propped up well, but as another the parent who came here really shared this, and that's what they will be, our children. And conservative children coming to Waldorf school is such a beautiful experience for them, like how we wanted to go to a granny or an aunt home where there is so much of nourishment. No, they don't. mm, Everything is time to time. Food will be given. There is no stress of do this, do that, do that. Yes, children love to come into our space, and they learn with so much of smile, so much of enthusiasm. The child who came from a conventional school, and 2 years she learned here, and all that, she came like a thin thin nomad. She came, I can see the way. so much of fear, so much of loss in her voice, so thin in her constitution. And when she went away, she had so much of blush
Hungry
on her,
cheeks.
so much of blush, so much of, I can see the eyes how it's blossoming. Yes, and so much of individual learning happened for her, that all things happened when she went away. So these things, as a live thing, we can see as how they transit from this side to that side.
So beautiful. When we discussed about the 7 to 14 years, you shared about the curiosity of the teacher. So I just want you to share about how a Steiner teacher should be, and should they be trained, or how are the training facilities available for them? What should a person who wants to work in a Steiner environment bring with them? Is it the pedagogical approach, or is it the attitude?
So that's what, so I am, for me to carry this school. Now we are moving till 6th. Is, I don't know how, for me in my inner life, I think the pedagogical uh, things what we are working is very strong and pure to my heart. Yes, actually all that comes as a subsidiary thing. Attitude really counts a lot more than what, when there is so much strong intentions and the attitude is there for that, all all the space gives us so much things to work with. Yes, with right attitude on this, with right attitude, everything what we earn for brings, is just coming into the space naturally, so that we can work with so much of, uh, what I was really astonished. I mean, I was really dumbstruck to see how I can bring this world of, if such so much things are so good, how I really wanted to bring it. And that, but with that particular thought, even there was so much of, how I'm going to bring it, because so much is there in this space, in this particular very remote village. So how can I bring this, was the, was another question. When that wanted அப்படிங்கிறப்பவே, then there was another question, how was it possible? Then all particular things came into possible. If then
Mm.
this comes, if I must do it, means I have to take a step forward. Then hundred entities, unseen entities and few seen entities come and help us, to carry this forward. That's what that's what really happened in my life. If there is an attitude, good attitude and good intention, all things, all things are available, not ready in the hand, but then slowly it will take inside and bring order and something we can really work on. Attitude and intention, really, if I want to do, if it's there on the, on our pathway, then lot of things happen. Beautiful unseen entities and few seen entities come and help us to take the mission and vision forward, which happened in my life too.
So beautiful, because whatever pedagogy, be it conventional or non-conventional, like
Yeah, see,
Waldorf or
not
JK
about
or
Waldorf.
Montessori,
Need not
yeah.
even have Waldorf or Montessori or anything, whatever it is. If that individual has a good intention, to do even Montessori or even anything, state board books or CBSE or whatever it is there in, with whatever resources they have in hand, if the intention and attitude is good, then that really takes forward for the children.
So beautiful. And having spoken about the teachers, then comes the talk about the children. So there are a lot of families that have given the digital awareness to the children too early. And there are families that have already given too much of academical, inputs
Input.
and nomenclatures too early. So how difficult would be for those children to connect with the nature, because there are a lot of children who doesn't connect with the nature. For them, connecting with the nature is when they go for a vacation to a hill station, once in 2 years or something like that. So how does it work practically for children like them? Yeah.
So to actually get rid of them and to really delve into this connection, it will take a real time. There is a time space which takes. So once the adult who's around the child decides that they are not going to give the digital media or they're going to stop the nomenclature, that's the decision which is going to take. So it's from the adult side who's going to decide, yes, I'm not going to give this for the children. Yes, once you stop that, then something really gushes. The what has been taken has to be given off, right? For some days you have to allow for those take off journey, right? To unlearn what has been learned. Yes, first unlearning process has to happen in a very huge way so that they they what they stamp they throw tantrums, they are very depressed, they are moody, they ill, everything they do. For all that, you have to allow those things to happen, and slowly you have to take a very strong courageous step to wait. Stopping is a courageous step. More than that, that waiting period is more courageous. You have to stay with those things, and slowly, once those things once those things happen, then they will start to see how you can be simple, name play, and simple things around the tree, and that water will bring so much of life to them. So first, that switching mode happens when it is adult. The switching mode happens through some strong crisis, and so through strong encounters the higher world brings us to see what is the truth. Yes, so even children sometimes they experience that, and we have to allow that to experience for the children, so that something is, when then at that particular moment, then nature will, if you bring them to the nature, then they will see what is that wonder of that little chick born from that egg, and that the little flower which has come from the new rose. Everything is a wonder for them then. So that they will start to then develop things, even at whatever age it is. No, it is about something, a new life opens for them, to be open for nature.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think it is more with the patience and perseverance of the caretaker or the adult, and the confidence the adult have when they stop all these external things coming into the family. Yeah. Um, Thanks for sharing that. Moving forward to the next most important question, I would say, because Steiner says a lot about connecting in the mother tongue. And
Yeah.
in a country like India, where mother tongue is itself a question mark and we communicate a lot in English, how important it is to connect with the mother tongue, like how we connect with the nature. And what are all the difficulties you face as an educator? Because um, we are forcefully led into a English speaking community, and we are far away from the mother tongue. So like I wanted you to share about the Steiner perspective and also as a perspective of an educator.
So it's very true, very very true. As an individual and as a head of, as a founder of an institution, I know that's very very true, that mother tongue learning in the initial years brings a lot of wisdom, lot of health, bringing syndromes and hormones. Everything is nourishing as a mother tongue education. But living in the world of today, and see in German, I hope mother tongue is very common over there, right? It's very very common. Nothing very hard and fast. The neighbor state of Kerala also, they at least they have one opening for mother tongue, something for the initial years. They have a sense that okay, mother tongue learning and then English, it's okay, that's there in the air, but not in Tamil Nadu. No, children, very very rarely parents wanted this mother tongue to be taken. So that's one of the break. It's a very great um, bridge which we have to really work upon to walk for the future, to walk on that, to really know that mother tongue is very very important than any other language, whatever language it is. Or if they are not, see, supposing you are in German, then there is the folk air German, then that is okay. If I live in Andhra Pradesh, then Telugu can be spoken, taught for my children, nothing harm for that, because that's there in the folk air. Even if I speak Tamil, I can teach Telugu when I stay in Andhra. And but how many of the parents now know this truth, are willing to accept this, though they know this? How many are able to accept it, and how many are able to try it on the children? That's a great that's a great question. All are having the underneath fear, yes, if my child doesn't learn English, what happens? So we have so much. For how I abridge the second question is, we have 1 month of English and 1 month of Tamil stories narrated in kindergarten. And usually Tamil stories are very long stories. It spreads around 50 minutes or 40 minutes for a UKG child. And English stories are not so much. We take very small stories so that they hear it and narrate it very beautifully. Before bringing Tamil stories, initially I narrated only English stories. Even that also with 40 minutes we narrated children, because it is stories. They took it, but somehow when it is English, it is by hearted, and it is only rotely they tell. It doesn't. They don't pick up the image strongly inside the heart. And then this time in grade one beautiful thing happened. Usually it is Sharam multifarious story, what is there in the world of pedagogy when it's coming for core process. This time with the teacher we spoke, and the class teacher I told, bring some bring some native names so that they understand. Sharam multifarious is not in our air. Then she simply brought Amma, Appa, Pati, Tata as four process, and children really beautifully understood it, and they worked lot of problems in the four process in grade one. And this time the parents were really very very happy with the curriculum. Waldorf in itself is very rich in curriculum. That's what I intend. It's never low in its curriculum, very strong in its curriculum. Might not have a history, geography, moral science, and science in grade one, but with that language and mathematics, how much of wonders the children are doing in grade one. As an adult, we have to experience it.
So true, because like I visited a lot of schools in India when I came, and I shared you about that. And when I visit Waldorf schools globally, I feel the energy is same everywhere. There is this oneness of following the pedagogy and following the curriculum, customizing the curriculum with the native is like so well processed by all the educators. And one thing I beautifully noticed in your school was mm, using the coconut leaves and weaving, because here weaving we do it with like paper or the thread and needle. And I thought like looking at a lot of institutions, what I felt was you personally have made a curriculum so beautifully that is connected to our roots. So can you share about that? Because when we talk about Waldorf, without knowing what it is, people just think about storytelling, wet and wet painting, and using these honeybee wax for making some basic sculptures, and using this particular, the square shaped crayons for doing the crayons. They connect it only with the things that are associated with Waldorf. So can you please throw some light on it?
When you ask about this question, my Montessori is very much in alignment. What Montessori speaks in the early years and what Steiner speaks are very much in alignment. But now, as you told, this block crayons and this wet on wet painting has become a material which has to be very much strong in world of pedagogy. The same way Montessori has also become a material Montessori. Yes,
True.
only if you have some materials, it's becoming a Montessori environment. It's never like that. So before 7 years, the children need not enter into any kindergartens at all. All the home environment is much fine for the children to grow with. Only thing I will ask them to come to such an environment is only because of one thing: children have to have peers after 2.5 years. They have to they have to be with peers. Only with peers, a beautiful learning happens for the children, being togetherness with all the hits and bumps, playing together. There's a lot of things they learn for their social life, for their professional life, to have a team spirit, everything, lead qualities, everything. For that, they have to play together. In that togetherness, they can individualize and play, they can play in group, they can separate, or whatever mix and match can happen. But they have to be together, and they have to be together and grow together for a few years before 7. For that particular thing, which is not there in any home now. No home has more than 2 children, and no home has cousins now. No, no home is to take another neighborhood child and have them for at least 1 hour. Yes, all our doors are shut now. So then we have to choose a kindergarten, like how a Waldorf kindergarten, or you have to create a space for very young children to grow. At least 10 children should be there in the space. At least 4 to 10 children they are in the space, then they can sprout up. And that much is enough. They have to be in the space, have a tree and water and few clothes, some nature products, nice food, time to time food. That much is it. Yes. Silent, very harmonious adult to see around whether the children are safe and secure. That much is enough. That much is enough. Need not have Montessori or Waldorf or nothing. You need nothing is essential. Children, moment to moment, day to day, they find out new things for play. They get nourished daily. They sleep with that. Tomorrow, what I have to do, they sleep with that, and they wake up to do what they want to do next. Learning happens from the cosmos. All what has to be given will be given for their life. Nothing need not even learn any pedagogy. Just not to give anything is the best thing you can give at the ages of 0 to 7. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. So we have spoken about the teachers, we have spoken about the children, and now comes the thoughts on parents. Because in the Waldorf institutions, parents play a vital role and they are also the primary stakeholder in the institution. Not like the conventional school where you have to stand outside the gate and pick up the child from outside the gate. It never happens in a Waldorf kindergarten. So can you please share the thoughts on the role of parents in a Waldorf institution?
So for me, the role of parents in Waldorf institution is, first of all, the the courage to take the decision in this particular scenario of the life of the world which is going to take the decision. Yes, my child has to learn in a world of school even is a very courageous decision. And for that thought, even they are guided from a very true uh, they are bringing a true value before the children. Yes. And then throughout their school years, how they are being a part of the community. So it's also a learning for the parent. Why you don't give, they have to come and question, they're coming and question, why not this, why you are giving this, why it is not like in the other school. Everything when they come as a question, then when we answer in the gatherings, in the parents community gathering, and they also become a part of something is bridged. And these children love to be together, no? when they see people whom they love standing together in a one small one space, no, so much of nourishment is there for the children, so much of security they take when they see father and mother standing for them, teacher and the parents standing for them is a huge thing for the child. I will tell it's about bringing 100 crore onto their account. So much of security for the children to see that there is a bridge. Beautiful unity they see before them. Not only my parent, all of my friends' parents are here, and all of our teachers are here. So that community is being built up, and the children takes so much more than learning from this building up of the community. And that's how they're going to stand with their life when they are meeting people after marriage, they are meeting people after their profession, how they are going to make, how they are going to self stand, bringing, not losing, not, that's what this education doesn't cut human beings like that. It always connects human beings, and that's what is humanizing education. You are always in connection, and that connection only strengthens their inner life. Children gets a strong inner life seeing this connection.
So beautiful. And my next question, it's about gender stereotyping and doing handworks in Waldorf institution. Like like in a country like Denmark and Germany, in this part of the world, there is no gender connected with doing handworks like crochet or knitting or whatsoever. If I go in a bus, I will see a college student doing some sweater for himself. But in a country like India, whether like கோலம் போடுறதாகட்டும், whatever, boys are not meant to do that அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு stereotype இருக்கு. So how does you see that in your institution? Have you faced that
So
question?
here,
எதுக்குங்க பையன் இதெல்லாம் கத்துக்கணும்,
yes,
பொண்ணுங்களுக்கு நீங்க
yes,
சொல்லி தரீங்க, ஓகே.
initially, knitting கேட்பாங்க, but knitting parents are happy to have the children learn knitting. Yes, but sometimes when the girl child is wanted to take that strong iron rod to dig the soil, they stammer. Yes, even boys stammer. Uh, Rural boys are okay with taking it, but urban boys stammer to take it and dig. They get exhausted. Yes, so and one time I took a very strong decision I made when I want to teach animal kingdom, and I just made them watch the cow, and for 3 days they cleaned the cow shed. Yes, parents were very much annoyed. I asked them to observe the cow, and I asked them to clean the cow shed. Okay, they were not. The hands were very hesitant to take the cow dung and everything. Yes, but along with our teachers and everything, they cleaned up the space, and then the observation started. So it's about very huge things that girls should not do that and boys should do this. All that has as because when they grow and it's not a very high strength in the higher classes, children are very open to do anything. Boys clean up the room, they arrange the things, they cook, and might be in column. Anyhow, form drawing is there, right? And sometimes when we convert into column, boys too. And I used to tell whenever I enter the space, here we see Brahmins, specifically Nambudris, they are enriched. Specifically, men are very much on their hands. They come, they cook, they do big forms, columns, they wipe it, and for the next puja they do big forms. Okay, they they clean the vessels, they eat together, and they wind up. Yes, so why can't a man, if a man does even more beautiful and very um, stronger, it's not they can do strong physical things, but they can do even very artful things, like this, like what a woman does. No, you can see like that is a living thing, enlivening things. Those gurus are meant. That is what a disciple is. Disciple is what, how guru, disciple concept is, what is this, how the guru is, so is the disciple. Yes.
with this. So
Discipline
கண்ணு
comes
பார்த்து
from
கை
the word.
வேலை செய்யும், குருவை பார்த்து கத்துப்பாங்க. ம்.
கண்ணு பார்த்து,
எதுவுமே
yes.
சொல்லி கொடுக்க மாட்டாங்களே, they
Discipline
just
comes,
observe the guru and they
discipline
just learn.
comes, yes, discipline comes from the word disciple. Discipline doesn't, it's not like that military walk like that. It comes from how, whom they are learning is what they learn. That is what Steiner talks about hands. What you learn with your hands is what you learn for your life. So what the elders are doing with their hands is what they learn, what they also learn, and that is what is native for their hands. Today, when we discussed in our text, we saw how a child born in a weaver's home need not be taught weaving. Yes, naturally the hands are built to do those things. Yes, like that. The adults who are of, they have to have something native on their hands. How many of us have what is native on our hands now? What we know, what is our task which is there in the hands, and finding that is also a destiny package. If we find it, then almost we have found out why we have come to our earth. The purpose of coming to the earth is already soluted when we find out what is there in our hands. That's why Steiner says children who do not dwell these hands in their play, in their very artful things, young child taking salt, taking it, bringing it everywhere, knitting or clay modeling, anything, these hands, Pannad, if those hands who cannot do this, they cannot be good thinkers in the later lives. He says very absurdly, they will be awkward thinkers. Children who do not use the hands skillfully will be awkward thinkers in the future, and we see how many awkward thinkers around our space, how awkward we were also. Understand? So that's one of the great insight we can take.
Thank you so much. And we have just almost come to the end of the session. And before closing, I want you to share about the reading circle you conduct, because I felt it is very important whether not everybody has the opportunity to find the right Steiner Institute near them, but they have the ambition to do something that would help the child develop holistically, as Steiner says. So I want you to share some information about the reading circle so a lot of people who are listening could benefit from your words. Yeah.
So we have a reading circle for the past few years, and this year we have taken the lecture, which is the education of the child in the light of anthroposophy, and we are working paragraph by paragraph or sentence by sentence every week, and we are almost when people of most people who are Tamil hearing people enter into the space, and it's almost in Tamil. But if people want, it can be also in English, and we bring the native spirit in a very soulful way and in a very easeful way. You can understand Steiner's philosophy, and it will be a step how you can follow it easily, even at home, as being a parent or being a student. You can follow it in home as being a student of even a conventional parent, even wanting to do Waldorf but could not do Waldorf, can bring something of the elements into your home, so that the home has something beautiful on that space. When you see the children, when we understand that the children are growing like this in this particular age, and what happens, we can also evolve, and that learning becomes more fruitful for the home's harmony and peace.
Thank you so much. And I'll just share some information about the reading circle. It happens every Wednesday from 2 p.m. IST. And as Shanmuga Priyaka said, she just reads a paragraph or a line and she expresses the statements or the writings of Steiner with the current lifestyle and what is in our Tamil scripture. So it is a connection between the the Vedas and the Hindu or Tamil literature and the Steiner education. Thank you so much for doing that, Akka. It means a lot for people like me who are like following regularly. And last but not the least, if you would like to share something about the pedagogy or about the school or some inputs to the parents, please do share.
Yeah. So last, thank you so much, Kritika, for giving this space to open up something about world of education for the present world. And that's what Steiner education is very closely aligned with whatever is there around the space. So when we are open to receive something, then we can see what Steiner speaks, and what happens naturally is just meeting. It's just meeting. For whatever you've learned before through anything, also is meeting this in a very purified way. The only thing is we are taking this from Steiner and bringing components from outside, and all what we learn is just to learn from inside. What is the book? You read a book. I told you in Tamil we call it as thread. There is another word for book. You call it as puttagam. Understand? So reading means the book you read. It means puttagam. What really, if you want to really translate in English, it is purifying the inner space. The real meaning for book in Tamil is purifying the inner self. Understand? That's what actually happens in the reading circle. We can see that happening. And the real book, if you want to have a reading, you have to allow the children to make that particular reading open for the children.
Thank you so much for joining with us. And I think a lot of parents who are not aware of what this Waldorf education system is all about would have got an overview. And thank you so much again.
So, great wishes for the parenting and presence to move forward with all upbringings and springings.